Within the world of anime, it is pretty apparent that Dragon Ball Z and its titular character Son Goku were so influential that many animes and series reference it or were in some way inspired by it. Similar influence can be said for Doom, one of the first-person shooters that could be considered the precursor to notorious video games such as Halo and Call of Duty, which follows the rip-and-tearing action of the Doomslayer, who went through a savage conquest through the multiverse to end the demonic horde's grasp on existence. Both are immensely powerful, fast, and absolute beasts in combat, but between the two and at their best, who would defeat the other? Would it be the godly Saiyan with a million hairstyles, or the space marine who defeated God? In this video, I shall cover Son Goku with all of his skills and abilities from the main series and the Dragon Ball games such as Super Dragon Ball Heroes and Dragon Ball Xenoverse. And I will also cover Doomguy with all his feats and accolades from the Doom games, including Doom Eternal's Ancient Gods DLC and lore. So without further ado, let's get right into it. We'll begin with the Doomguy, who began his demon-slaying quest on Mars' moons of Deimos and Phobos, until he eventually came face to face with godly beings such as the Khan Maker, the universe-dismantling black hole-spawning icon of sin, and the literal creator of the Doom multiverse, Davoth. In addition to his prowess, he has the majestic Praetor suit that was left unscratched by the innumerable amount of demons he ripped apart, his trusted double-barreled shotgun, his scarlet glowing crucible, and the crucible hammer, alongside many other weapons which are implied by the developers as being empowered by his own life force. To understand how strong the Doomslayer really is, we have to take a look into the cosmology and the lore of the verse. For starters, the Makers, angelic beings, help create and monitor the infinite and countless Doom multiverse, with each timeline forming and expanding exponentially like fractal patterns. This is important for speed scaling later on, but Makers govern time and space or essentially transcend it, which makes sense since they did form the cosmology. Urdak, the heavenly realm of the Makers, is outright stated to be a higher dimension and beyond from the mortal realm, making it at least 4D, but arguably 6D as it is labeled like that in the game. But you could also just argue that it is just the name of the dimension itself and not referring to spatial dimensions. Hell, formerly known as Jakad, was beyond the scope of the Makers who can see into an infinite set of infinitely expanding timelines, which infers it is an even higher dimension, making it at least 5D, but arguably 7D going by the aforementioned 6D scan. However, Hell itself is a living entity which has consumed countless dimensions and universes and is unlimited by time, space, and dimensions, which can be interpreted as it being a countably infinite or uncountably infinite dimensional realm that escalates through Aleph sets. In essence, Hell can be interpreted as being hyperversal to high outerversal. Now, why is this important? Well, Doomguy was able to beat the hell out of the Dark Lord who created the realm itself and was going to destroy it entirely. Time and time again though, I've seen people argue that this doesn't mean much since the Dark Lord was apparently not a full power, even though it's heavily implied that even in the incorporeal state, he still had strong dominion over the realm itself, and that these beings are at their best when they have a body.
Without a physical form, I am merely a presence. I have no recollection of myself. I believe my essence from the sphere could return me to my full faculties.
So if anything, he was near or at his normal levels of power in the fight. I've even seen arguments that the Dark Lord, if anything, was far stronger than he was when he first created Hell, since he would have fed off all of the suffering and pain that the realm had caused after all this time. And to make it even more insane, the Doomguy wasn't even shook up or damaged in the encounter, making him casually beyond such a primeval being. In terms of speed, the Doomguy would have immeasurable speed given by his fight with Davoth, the Khan Maker, and Samur Maker, who as I said, literally help create and can monitor the infinite multiverse by their own will as they are beyond the realm of normal time-space. I've seen people argue that they do this through portals or through technology, but this is never shown or stated, even though it says in the codex that they literally themselves flew through creation. In addition to his insane power and speed, the Doomguy has some sort of abstract nature, since due to his presence alone, he was causing the collapse of the infinite multiverse. Overall, the Doomguy easily has 5th to 7th dimensional power at the normal ends, with him arguably having hyperversal to outerversal levels of power at the highest ends. Now, how does Son Goku hold up? Well, we know that Super Saiyan God Goku, while barely understanding how to tap into his power in his clash with Beerus, was going to wipe out the Universe 7 macrocosm, a universe composed of multiple infinite time-space continuums like the Living Universe, Hell, Heaven, the Kaioshin Realm, and the Demon Realm. You could even argue that the destruction of the macrocosm is a casual 5D feat, given that the Daizenshu states that the afterlife transcends dimensions. But canon Super Goku is at least high 4D, or high multiversal at this point, given that he has become countless of times stronger since his battle with Beerus. But there are arguments that he can scale even higher, given that it is narratively and outright implied in interviews and guides that Goku had become the strongest at the end of Z, which would include Orange Piccolo, Broly, Black Frieza, Gohan Beast, Beerus, and Arale, if we were to take everything from Super leading up to that point, with Arale potentially being able to transcend her own setting or dimensional existence infinitely. In essence, you can certainly argue Goku into those hyperversal and higher metas. I personally don't agree with this scale as much, but I wanted to bring it up for those that do like the Arale scaling meta. Going by the games, Goku solidly scales into the complex multiversal levels, given that in Xenoverse 1 and 2, he does insane. For instance, prior to tapping into the realm of Super Saiyan Blue and Ultra Instinct, in base alone, he was able to withstand an attack that would have wiped out the entire Time Nest, with a Time Nest containing infinite time scrolls that contain timelines. In Super Saiyan 3, he was even able to fight off against Demigrad's evolved state alongside the Time Patroller, which was tearing apart the Crack of Time, a separate dimension that I'd argue is a higher dimension to a typical timeline, given that it is composed of a larger time crystal that is larger than the Time Scrolls. The destruction of the Time Nest is even more insane, given that Demigrad stated that it would destroy everything, which would infer that it would also take out the parallel quest line, which would infer that there are at least 3 infinite sets of infinite timelines in Xenoverse that Demigrad would have wiped out in base. If Super Saiyan 3 Goku is 400 to 4000 times base of that, it really puts into perspective how much stronger he got in Xenoverse 2 with Super Saiyan Blue and Ultra Instinct, especially with the current manga scaling. It gets even more insane when you realize that if there are infinite Universe 7s, it means that there are also infinite Time Nests, each with their own sets of infinite timelines. So if you think that Goku scales in any capacity to destroy anywhere near that extent, then he becomes hard to stop. In Heroes, he would scale from Xeno Goku, who managed to fight Demigra, who was not only going to destroy the infinite Dragon Ball multiverse, but also reach and destroy the real world, which is outright stated that you need to transcend dimensions to pass into it. It is also worthy to note that these Heroes and Xenoverse characters are fast enough to travel through time through their own speed alone, giving them immeasurable speed. All in all, making it consistent that these characters are higher dimensional and faster than the canon characters. In Ultra Instinct, he managed to surpass the power of Super Saiyan 4 Xeno Vegito, who could contest with Michikabura, who was powerful enough to absorb the infinite Dragon Ball multiverse. This is even more insane when you realize that this Super Saiyan 4 Vegito was able to contend with a full power Super Saiyan 3 Cumber, who in base alone was already handling post Tournament of Power Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken Vegito. Goku then gets other insane boosts. For instance, when in Super Saiyan Blue alone, he manages to contest with Hearts, who is superior to the likes of Cumber. At the end of the Super Spacetime Tournament, Mastered Ultra Instinct Goku manages to defeat Super Saiyan 4 Limit Breaker Xeno Goku, which is very impressive given that in normal Super Saiyan 4, Xeno Goku's power was so great that it could affect the flow of time in the entire multiverse. Now, what hacks does Goku have at his disposal? He has the Hakai, which can destroy someone's entire body and soul through numerous timelines, which is the whole reason as to why Goku Black had to get a time break to prevent from being erased by it in the first place. But going by the games, he has even more disgusting things in his arsenal. He has Iron Will, which allows him to prevent stamina loss from attacks. He has numerous bonuses that buff damage to lower the HP he has. He has Dimensional Domain, which immensely lowers an opponent's stamina. And he has wielded one of the most overpowered weapons in the verse, the Key Sword, which can nullify powers, can seal off realms from time itself, can reduce an opponent's stamina, and it can also negate an opponent's immortality and regeneration capabilities, as showcased in the battle against Michikabura. Capsule Corp Goku and Xeno Goku respectively can also wield the Time Power, which can erase time itself and timelines entirely, reverse time, stop time, or accelerate time, among many other things. I don't think it's fair to say that Goku can use everything attributed to the Time Power skill tree, but it certainly does open up some possibilities in a battle if you want to be generous. Now that we have gone over their stats, who would win in this circumstance? I think that at their normal levels of power, both are complex multiversal and have immeasurable speed, but in the general scope of things, Goku just has a general edge with the power-ups and amplifications, especially when you consider the fact that he could theoretically stack that Kaioken times 100 on his true Ultra Instinct. With the Hakai, the Key Sword, and the Heroes card hacks, he has too many things to deal with that the Doomslayer will certainly lose eventually. He does have insanely better stamina and experience than Goku for sure, but Goku certainly outedges him in skill and battle IQ, but they both certainly have several close quarters and range options at their disposal in the battle. Now, if we are going by the absolute highest stands, I'd have to give it to the Doomslayer, due to how much more straightforward it is that the cosmology, particularly Hell itself, is potentially in the hyperversal to outerversal ranges. Barring potential at Raleigh Wank, I don't think that Goku would scale that high traditionally speaking, but do let me know what you think, and please let me know what matchup I should do next. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you thotties next time. Peace out.